Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up in the news tonight, the Free National Movement Convention continues. The Bahamas UN ambassador speaks to Russia invading Ukraine. Former health minister says Bahamians are not buying into taking the jab. PAHO officials address low vaccination rates in the region. And 4 new consuls general heading to the U.S. Welcome to our news weekend edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. With a new leadership team elected, F&M's packed the Imperial Ballroom on closing night of its national convention. In his keynote address, leader Michael Pintard apologizing for decisions of the former administration that hurt Bahamians, especially party faithfuls. Berthany McDermott tells us more in this report.
Free National Movement supporters filled the Imperial Ballroom at the Atlantis Resort to cap off the 3-day convention. In his address, party leader Michael Pintard admitting that decisions during the last administration hurt Bahamians, including party faithfuls. For that, he apologized.
I regret that we made some of those decisions and that you were hurt. And we apologize to every Bahamian who's been hurt by any decision that we have made. I believe the decisions came out of a place in our heart where often we thought the right decision was being made.
In his first national convention address as party leader, he also admitted that some were left vulnerable to decisions of the former Minister administration. This, he says, led to voters either staying home or voting against the party.
We should not be ashamed of saying some things we did not get right. Forgive us.
At opening night, outgoing Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest said the F&M was voted out on a perception of arrogance. Pintard, who also represents Marco City in Parliament, agreed that arrogance led to losses for past administrations. He pledged zero tolerance under his leadership.
We believe that arrogance is a poison in political organizations. Multiple administrations have been changed because of it. We will not tolerate it, and in our own lives, we will not exhibit it.
Newly elected Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands and Deputy Leader Shannon Don Cartwright were also on the closing night speakers list. They will join Pintard as the party's new leadership team in trying to rebuild after an election defeat. It's a job Pintard says he will keep for as long as the party will have him.
And you don't have to fall in love with me to have access to me. I work for you. And I will serve at your pleasure for as long as you would have me. And rest assured, the day you make the determination you don't want me, I wouldn't be fighting tooth and nail, left, right, and center, east, west, north, and south to hold on.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands is expressing concern over lower vaccination numbers, saying it appears residents are not buying into getting the jab. Jasmine Brown reports.
The former health minister says as the pandemic drags on and the threat of another major COVID-19 wave looms, the near stagnant vaccination rate is more than worrisome.
What I do find is problematic is that we have not yet arrived at a formula to get Bahamians to buy in to vaccination.
The last vaccination stats were released more than 2 weeks ago. As of February 12th, 160,655 people were fully vaccinated in the Bahamas. The previous week's dashboard showed that as of February 7th, 159,839 people were fully vaccinated, a difference of 816 people in a week.
The fact that we are only at 40% and vaccinating less than 2,000 people a week does not augur well for our resilience in the face of any subsequent waves that may come.
Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Michael Darville has also expressed concern over decreasing uptake of COVID-19 vaccines in recent weeks, and the Davis administration has introduced strategies like mobile vaccination centers in a bid to make getting a jab more convenient.
Let's keep working at this. I'm afraid that for the most part, we have not come up with the formula that we need to come up with to convince Bahamians that they ought to be vaccinated. There has been a peak, and now it has steadily declined since September of 2021. The numbers tell a frightening story that perhaps the belief is that vaccines are not an important part of the way forward for COVID. And every single country that has decided to move away from COVID restrictions have the liberty of doing so because they're at the 80%, 75% threshold for vaccination. We're not there. And I think it would be inappropriate for us to say that we have comparable data as those countries.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Just this week, Pan American Health Organization officials warned that low vaccination coverage in many Caribbean countries must be urgently addressed to stop the spread of COVID-19 and protect the most vulnerable, such as healthcare workers and the elderly. Out of 13 countries and territories in the region that have not yet reached the World Health Organization's 2021 goal of 40% vaccination coverage, 10 are in the Caribbean. At a press briefing earlier in the week, Director of PAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, said vaccine hesitancy, a lack of vaccination centers in remote areas, insufficient staff, and lack of cold chain infrastructure remain huge barriers to vaccination in many islands. With 700 million people now vaccinated in Latin America and the Caribbean, there is data to show that vaccinations are safe and effective against COVID-19. Dr. Etienne said, but interventions must now be tailored to the needs of those that remain vulnerable in each country. 4 men who were appointed to consul general posts throughout the U.S. expressed gratitude for their appointments. Anthony Moss, former MP for Exuma and Ragged Island, was appointed to serve in Atlanta, while Leroy Major, a banking and security professional, will serve in New York City.
Serving as the new consul general in the Atlanta office, I intend to continue to make positive strides, just as my predecessors would have made across the United States of America, especially within the 10 states of the Southeast region.
I read the duties of the responsibilities of this office, of which I take very seriously, and I intend to serve my country with the highest distinction of which I'm called.
Patrick Adderley, who has more than 15 years' experience in foreign affairs, was appointed to serve in Washington, D.C., and Kurt Hollingsworth, a noted educator and a PLP candidate for Marco City in the 2022 elections, will serve in Miami. They were all officially announced by Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper.
Another goal will be the promotion of our country's economic and cultural sectors, which I consider essential for the sustainable economic development of the country. I will seek opportunities for new and creative ways to display our exceptional Bahamian crafts and businesses, as well as forge bilateral opportunities towards economic development and increased cooperation.
So I am prepared, and I look forward to all of the support from everyone around me. Ambassador, you'll be hearing from me a lot as we are charged with ensuring that this country is recognized in all aspects of what we are asked to.
Still to come on our News Weekend edition, the Bahamas United Nations ambassador speaks to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
You're watching our News Weekend edition. Welcome back. The world has witnessed Russian President Vladimir Putin's military machinery launch an attack on the neighboring country of Ukraine. Since then, Russia has continued with its military offensive, with its soldiers closing in on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. While the world watches, the United States, along with its allies, have not responded with military attacks on Russia, but instead insist that the sanctions they have put against the country will suffice for now. Tens of thousands of people have fled Ukraine, even though Putin says civilian areas will not be harmed. As the world waits on the next move, here in the Bahamas, we cannot help but wonder, what does all of this mean for us? Our Tanya Smith Cartwright is with United Nations Ambassador Stan Smith, who answers that question.
Thanks, Megan. Welcome, Mr. Smith, to our news.
Thank you, Ms. Cartwright.
Very good, very good. Okay, we know that Ukraine has recently been attacked by Russia. That's an ongoing fluid situation we've all been watching. What can you describe as our diplomatic relations with Russia?
The government's administration from 2002 to 2007 entered into diplomatic relations with Russia. Now, the Bahamas believes in functional cooperation, and so any strategic reciprocity that we find between ourselves and another country for development, we would pursue that. The situation in the Ukraine means now that the government has to reassess or assess its posture, given that development. There may be an opportunity for heads of state at CARICOM meetings to come to consider what a collective regional position would be regarding our diplomatic engagement and posture with Russia regarding the Ukraine.
Okay, from your vantage point as ambassador, what does all of this mean for us, this war, basically? What does it mean for the Bahamas?
The obvious immediate concern would be a kind of watchful anxiety about the economy. 80% of our GDP is derived from tourism. Maybe upwards of 80% of our tourism activity is derived from the United States. So stock markets are affected, people are concerned, they travel less. That impacts us. I would be concerned about that. Generally, I think that the pandemic has been a very safe, dry run for the Bahamas in being able to assess what the priorities would be should we be impacted by some man-made or natural disaster that disrupts the economy. We now understand our priorities would have to be to protect the livelihood and the personal well-being of Bahamians across the country. So there is that. I think it also is an opportunity for the Bahamas at the UN in that space to be counted, to show that we support a rights-based system of international law.
And before all of this took place, I'm sure you had an agenda for your new position. What is your priority on that particular agenda outside of Ukraine and this Russia situation?
In terms of engagement at the UN as a larger profile, I think the World Bank is an engagement that's important to us. We want to shift the World Bank's lending policy from a GDP assessment to a global vulnerability index assessment, right? That's in the interest of all least developing states and small island developing states like the Bahamas.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us this evening, Mr. Smith, and all the best in your new appointment.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Back to you, Megan.
Thank you, Tanya. And when our news comes back from the break, the ICANN Foundation Empowering Children in the Community and a technical institute holds a career seminar on Grant Bahama. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5".
This is our News Weekend Edition. Welcome back. Ruthnell Technical Institute hosting a career seminar highlighting the potential for careers in the technical and industrial sectors on Grand Bahama. Ruthnell Technical Institute offers a number of technical courses to students who may have encountered challenges with traditional courses, as well as individuals who simply want to expand their list of skill sets. President and CEO of the LEAD Institute, Troy Clark, says the key is self-management.
Self-management is knowing that, okay, you want to go to this party, you're going to sacrifice your time and you're going to study so that you could be prepared to do your examination on Monday. That is self-management. Another key, self-management is the application of personal discipline for the sake of greater goals. Also, whatever you fail to manage, you will lose.
He adds that institutions such as Ruthnell Technical and the Leadership, Esteem, Ability, Discipline Institute both aim to prepare young people to be leaders.
The skill sets, the talents that you have, you will utilize that to be leaders in your area of plumbing, electrical, engineering, welding, and so forth and so forth. Last but not least, the power of purpose. Without purpose, life has no meaning. Without purpose, life is an experiment. Without purpose, life has no precision. Without purpose, life has no priorities. Without purpose, gifts and talents are wasted.
17-year-old Tramika Moxie and 16-year-old Adrena Latour say the presenters were informative. Moxie, who is currently studying to be a welder, says seeing women succeed in that field was very inspiring.
Just seeing these young women come in today and speak to us, I know that I can make it far because I am a female and most females don't take up welding because of the work, and seeing men do it, I know that I can do it too because of the young women, they came and speak.
I'm doing business. So yeah, I just starting off, and then I guess somewhere in life I'll be a better person from where I am now.
The ICANN Foundation is an international nonprofit organization that aims to empower as many underprivileged children globally through two main initiatives. This is the organization's 5th week on the island, and outreach coordinator Robin Press says they will continue their feeding program for the foreseeable future.
We have a 100-foot sailing boat, and it takes kids aging out of the foster care system on 90-day trips around the Caribbean. On that journey, they learn how to cook, how to clean, just basic life skills. They also become PADI certified, so they have a sailing certificate, a diving certificate, and then obviously we have Robin's Tents. And what we do through our tents is kind of a gradual process. We start with creating this kind of community event, giving out free food, having basketball, having music. It's just something to look forward to every week.
The organization also facilitates a mentoring program.
We actually pair local older people with a child. That person will meet with their child every week, do a fun activity, maybe it's swimming, hiking, and then they also work cohesively with that family to understand how to better guide that child into a more positive future. So that's Robin's Tents. Right now, obviously we're in the Bahamas. We're also set up in Antigua, South Africa, and Costa Rica.
Press said she is so grateful to all of the volunteers who have made this a success for the past 3 weeks.
You can check out our website. That would be the easiest way. It's i-can-foundation.org. And through there we have a volunteer kind of sign up form, and that goes for volunteering with our program or signing up their child, whatever it might be, or becoming a mentor. The amount of support that people have shown and just wanted to come, all the local people, all the local organizations are really welcoming. So we just thank you for that, and I'll miss the Bahamas until I come back.
One of those volunteers, Clement Williams of the Chefs Association, says he has participated in the initiative since its inception.
We change the menu up every week, and the crowd, as you could see, they're coming every day, so word is getting around. And the good thing about it is, we're feeding any and everyone. There's no segregation. You come and you want a plate, 2 plates, you're going to get it. And that's their motto. That's why it's called ICANN. So we're proud to be partnering with them to do whatever we can do to feed our people, because after all, it is our people. But we're always grateful for when someone from outside can come and make a contribution to our Bahamian people. So it was a no-brainer to come on board and to partner with them. So every week you'll have either chefs here, different chefs come and participate and go. What we do is they order all of the items. Friday, there's preparation done. And then Saturday, we do all of the cooking. It's fresh food.
FTX Digital Markets making a significant investment in the Grand Bahama community, specifically to organizations and outreach programs that give back and make a difference in the community. Vice President Valdez Russell commends the organizations for impacting the lives of thousands throughout the island and the country.
Today, we will inject approximately $250,000 into the causes and commitments that you inspire on a daily basis. We hope that the funds that we will gift to your organizations will help you to grow, to thrive, and to excel.
19 organizations, $250,000 in donations.
The Alpha Kappa Sorority Incorporated will receive $5,000. The Cancer Society of Grand Bahama will receive $20,000. Color Me Awesome will receive $5,000. The Down Syndrome Association will receive $5,000. Fast Track will receive $10,000.
Among the recipients, the YMCA. Executive Director Karen Pinder-Johnson says the donation was an amazing surprise that will help to advance program offerings at the community center.
This is so timely because despite it all, we try, all of us try our very best to keep going. And I think this is just a testimony to the work that we're doing. It's not going unnoticed. And I just want to say thank you from the depths of my heart to Mr. Russell and his team for having that vision and for remembering the YMCA in our work and what we're trying to do in our community. Our programs and our overheads, despite not making the revenues, we still have to encourage those programs because those developmental programs are essential to the development of a young person. And so all funds that we receive are geared towards our programs and the overheads to run those programs. And so I can't say right now which program, but I do know it will enhance all the programs that we're doing, and hopefully we can then venture into doing a little more.
Dudley Sade, founder of the Reach Out Youth Organization, mentors young men, organizes grocery give-backs, and regularly runs a feeding program. With this donation, Reach Out can accomplish even more.
We're getting ready to do an expansion. We're getting ready to build a hurricane shelter and also a gymnasium. So 100% of the funding will go directly to that. But today you have different organizations here today, and we are so pleased. We want to say thank you to them that they see it fitting to come to Grand Bahama and see how struggling Grand Bahama is, because to have to come here today and to assist these organizations.
The Falcons Boys Club also making a difference in the lives of young men. Director Darren Rolls says the funds will go a long way as they build a community center.
I think Grand Bahama is going to be better as a result of what has been contributed today. I think the lives of those who are young, not so young, and those who are very young, I think they're going to see a tremendous impact in the next several weeks and months ahead as to what these funds will be used for. The Falcons Boys Club, we are in the process of developing phase number 2 of the Champs Community Center. So this donation today is going to take us a long, long way.
Our 5-day weather forecast still to come when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
Welcome back to our News Weekend Edition. And now here's our 5-day weather forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in to our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a wonderful weekend.